your audience will dictate what they want to see. Your social media pages aren't for you. It's not your taste. It's for your audience.
But then I would say the question is those 300 new followers, how many of them booked? Because the strategy is to stop the scroll so that someone will read your message. Your personal taste and a strategic objective are not the same things. Like if you don't like the color teal, that's okay, because everything on LinkedIn is cornflower blue. So if I have a bright, crazy looking green, that's going to stop the scroll and get somebody to read your message.
Hello and welcome to the Socially Awkward Podcast. I'm your host, Calvin Taloki, and I am here with Susan Barry.
That's right. I'm Susan Barry, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very
Susan
happy
Barry
to be here.
Yes, we are very happy to have you. She is the queen bee at Hive Marketing, as I believe your LinkedIn refers
It's
to
my
you as.
very official title, yes.
Yes, yes. Is that actually on your business cards?
It is, although I will tell you that I ordered business cards the first year I was in business 17 years ago, and I still have several of the ones that I ordered then, and I will not ever be ordering anymore. I love my business cards. They're very beautiful, but I find that people don't want them anymore. Do you give out a lot of business cards?
You know, now that you mentioned it, that's a good point. I do have some. But people are more like, oh, just match me on LinkedIn or, put me on LinkedIn or something. So what I've done with my most recent ones is like a little QR scanner. Mm-hmm. So it's a card, but also, hey, scan this and gives you all my info.
That makes a lot of sense. I just feel like people ask for business cards and then never follow up. And if they're really serious, I am not hard to find. So They'll find me. Like it's going to work out. It'll be okay.
Exactly. I mean, in this day and age, it's harder to stay hidden.
Yeah, exactly. Totally true. That is so true.
Well, obviously I know you, but perhaps the audience doesn't as well as I do. So tell us a little bit about your background and how you've become such a beacon in the hospitality industry.
Oh, a beacon. How very dare you? Well, my story is I was a hotel director of sales and marketing for about a decade for Starwood in the pre-Marriott acquisition days. And before that, I worked in food and beverage. I was in restaurants and then ran an off-premise catering company for a few years after I graduated from college, which if you have ever done off-premise catering, it is the craziest, most intense kind of job you could ever possibly have. And so to be perfectly honest, I got in the hotel business to take a break. I was like, to get a full night's sleep and, get whatever. I would do these events, and I swear to God, during our busy season, I was taking naps in my car in between events. That's how intense and how much work it was. And of course, I was in my 20s, so I wasn't living the healthiest lifestyle in the whole wide world. So I started in hotels as a director of catering, and I did it because I was like, well, I'll do this for a little while until I figure out what I really want to do. And then, of course, here we are 30 years later, and I'm still in the business. So after I was director of sales and marketing, most of what I did was open new build hotels. I worked for Starwood in Denver, Washington, D.C., and then here in Atlanta, where I still live. And I opened a Westin in the D.C. market and a W here in Atlanta, one right after another in rapid succession. That is a perfect job for me. Very high adrenaline, intense, a lot of autonomy, which I really value. And the great financial crisis sort of put an end to people developing ground up full service hotels. And so I needed to chase that adrenaline rush however I could. So I left and started my company in the spring of 2009. Hive Marketing, it still is 17 years later, but we originally started out to do what you do, which is to do social for hotels. I think I was a little early because people were like, Facebook who? Twitter what? Right. And so I worked for hotels and hotel companies, but I also worked for a lot of companies outside the industry. And over time, the business has evolved to what we do now, which is strictly B2B marketing and communications for hospitality companies. What that means in plain English is that rather than helping like an individual hotel come up with ideas to attract new guests, we help hospitality companies like brands, management companies, ownership groups, vendors do marketing strategy that sort of attracts each other versus attracting traveling consumers. And then for 4.5 years, I've been doing the love of my life, which is Top Floor, a podcast about the business of hospitality, all things hospitality, certainly including hotels, but also restaurants and planes, trains, automobiles. We recently had a company that makes the music that plays in public spaces talk about how that impacts hospitality. So truly like
Wow.
every corner of the industry. It's so fun. It's the love of my life. And
Cool.
we were talking about retirement recently, and I'm like, I cannot imagine a world in which I retire. Like that sounds like a punishment to me, not a reward,
Right.
So we'll see. We'll keep evolving.
Right. Well, it's not often that a woman retires in her 30s.
No, how dare you? It's absolutely true. Early retirement is not for me. I'll wait till I'm at least in my 40s to do it.
Good, good. Well, as I was getting to, obviously, you being a founder of your own company, you were in New York City for the inaugural Female Founders in Hospitality Conference.
Yes.
Tell us all about that.
Oh my gosh, it was so exciting. And you got me on a great day because I'm still on a high from this event. So 3.5 years ago, our founder, Nina Cleveland, was starting her company, Lanyard, and like kind of looking around for groups of women to talk to about like what the experience is like of being a founder.
Now,
And she wasn't.
not to interrupt, I apologize, but
Yeah,
lanyard, like the lanyards we wear.
Yes, it's
Wow.
affordable corporate housing. And
Okay.
the idea behind the name lanyard is that when you wear a lanyard, it's a symbol of belonging. And so the idea is that they provide housing that makes workers who are temporary or seasonal or H2B coming from other countries feel like they belong in the workplace where
Oh, that's
they
awesome.
live. Yeah. So anyway, she was looking around for groups to join and didn't find anything that made sense for her. And so she was like, well, I guess I better go ahead and start it. So I was part
Welcome.
of the founding, cohort of female founders in hospitality. And we started out meeting once a month over Zoom and just talking about different things that we face as founders, like how do you price and when do you hire employees and, all of those kinds of things. We are now, so that went on very like low key casual for a while. So many people wanted to join us that we are now, I want to say around 250 members from 45 states, 25 countries. We have something like 17 or 18 cohorts, maybe 17 and 18 haven't kicked off yet. We added a steering committee, which I'm part of, and all this stuff. So it's just like grown and blossomed. And so we finally were like, all right, well, I guess we better do an in-person event. So the steering committee, which includes Nina, me, and then 3 other women, Melissa Mayer, who I think Lee Gonzalez, and Sarah Murray, have been working for the last few months putting this in-person event together. And we were like, okay, if we have it in New York, 8 of our members live in New York. So at least 8 people will show up. And it turned out we had about 50 members from all over the place come. It was an absolutely magical event. It was a combination of panels and then sort of peer-to-peer roundtable discussions. We had a wine tasting. We had a beautiful opening reception at Fora Travel. It was I sound crazy probably describing it because I'm like, it was so great. But it was so great. It was so amazing. It was amazing because so many of these women, like, for instance, I'm on the steering committee. I talk to these people like every week. I had only met one of them in person until last week. So like these people that you feel this sort of closeness to, and, you've become friends over all this time, all of a sudden we're face to face. It was electric. It was magical.
I love, yeah, no, I love it. And you don't sound crazy. I did go to a women's conference for a client last year. We
Mhm.
were doing their social media, and obviously I am not female, but I felt the energy in the room. I'm actually jealous because I don't think guys have that. The closest thing we've got is like fantasy football.
Yep.
You know what I mean? I think that's the closest thing we got. Like, oh yeah, let's all get in a room and bond and do something. But outside of that, it doesn't really happen. You
Yeah.
know,
Well, and at so many of the industry conferences, women are such a small percentage of the attendees that to
yeah,
be in a room of almost all women is such an unusual situation. Like it hardly ever happens. So that I think
yeah,
adds to it a little bit. It was really exciting and, similar experiences and all that
yeah.
stuff. So it was very cool. And we have so many unbelievable founders. Like the companies that are being developed by these members, here I am just offering a little professional services and yapping on my podcast. These people are doing real stuff like building technology and creating, huge companies and magical, amazing products. And you're just like, whoa, I can't believe it.
Yeah, well, don't sell yourself short. You are a dynamo.
Something, all right.
That's fantastic. I'm so excited for you. Love to hear that. How did you develop such a strong, confident voice?
Oh my gosh. Do you think I have a strong, confident
Yes,
voice?
I
I'm
do.
glad
I
to
do,
hear
and
it.
I'm actually a bit jealous. Um, it's why I think it's why I gravitate to you so much because I'm like, how does she do this?
Oh, for heaven's sake. Well, I'm very flattered to hear that because I would say right back at you. And especially you not only have a confident voice, but you have a hilarious voice that I try to emulate. I want to be as funny as you are. So we can learn from each
Years and years
other.
of trauma.
I mean, you make me laugh every single day, and that is an absolute gift. So thank you.
Thank you.
I would say that there's a few things at play here. I have been
Mhm.
doing this for a real, real long time. And so there's certainly just a undercurrent of like, been there, done that. I'm not scared anymore.
Mhm.
But also, I don't know if this is going to resonate with you, Calvin, because I don't know if it'll make sense. But I think women listening to me may understand what I'm saying.
Mhm.
Throughout your career, you get this like feedback or you read books and it tells you do this and don't do that and do this and don't do that. And when you do those things or when you don't do those things, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Mm.
I like, okay, here's a great example of this. I think you and I talked about this on my show, I think. But
Mhm.
people give women the advice all the time, don't say sorry. Don't say the word sorry. Never say sorry. Like, sorry for being late. Instead, say thank you for your patience, which is something
Mhm.
that I do because I read it in a book. It
Mhm.
doesn't matter. People are going to take you for who you are, whether you behave perfectly up to the expectation written in a book or not.
Right.
So you might as well do the thing that feels comfortable. But you have to be old, I think, to feel that level of confidence.
No, it definitely does come with age and experience. I will say that, and I think I can relate. Excuse me, on a level, because we have a running joke in my company. I am currently the only male in my company.
Mhm.
Um, and I've hired a couple other guys over the years, and none of them have worked out. So I currently I have a no DEI status in my company. We're not hiring any other men. We're only hiring females. I've
Got
done
it.
enough of this. I've tried to be inclusive. I've tried to have diversity. No more dudes. I'm just kidding.
That's so
Um,
funny.
but I will be honest. I feel like it would be difficult because of what you just said. Is I realize why women gravitate to me and my company and why they're successful is my leadership style is one of collaboration.
Mhm.
Every call that we do is, hey, I want your opinions. Talk. I want to hear because everybody has different experiences, and what we do is creative. Where we're trying to reach a bunch of different demographics of people. I don't know them all. Many of our clients and many of our hotel accounts are primarily women on the accounts, 60, 70% female.
Hmm.
What do I know, right? Let me ask the ladies, what do you guys
Sure.
think? I think women appreciate that because that's not that's not typical out there in our industry and probably in
Hmm.
the world in general, where, hey, what do you think? Because, and I've seen it with my own eyes in hotels where I walk in with my VP who's female and they start asking me questions and I'm like, you need to be talking to her,
Uh-huh. That's
right?
interesting.
Yeah, like what your assumption that she was just here to take notes or something, you know?
If you think
Yeah.
about the traveling public, like if we're just talking about sort of the hotel business, the traveling public is made up of all different kinds of people. And so the more types of representation you have when you're creating messaging for the traveling public, the
Exactly.
more likely it is that it's going to hit with someone. I have
Mhm.
this thing that I am thinking about, and I actually think I'm going to do a solo episode of my show about this, but I don't know, maybe I can test it out on you and you can tell me what you think, okay?
Love it.
Here's my thought process. It may not be super articulate, so be cool. But it is this, that when we demand equality for women in the workplace based on women being a certain type of way,
Mm.
more collaborative or more nurturing or more this or that or whatever, that's denying the humanity of women and men. Like you said, you're collaborative and you're a man. So collaboration is not the sole
Right,
purview of women.
right.
I am not super collaborative, FYI. I'm not what you will refer to as a team player. I
Mhm.
like to do things by myself, which is why I have my own company. So
Right.
there's this idea out there that pops up a lot. You know, you see it on LinkedIn posts or whatever, like International Women's Day. Everybody should promote women because women are nicer. I mean, that's not true. It's not true. Some women are nicer, some
Yeah,
men are nicer.
yeah.
Everyone is everything. And when you deny the full range of humanity to someone based on their gender or based on their sex, that's where the problem comes in. It's not that we're cutting women out because
Mhm.
they're more nurturing, it's that we're not giving everyone the opportunity to fully express their humanity, whether it's as a nurturer or as a stone cold bitch or whatever the case may
Right.
be. You know what I mean? Does that
100%.
make sense? Does that sound right to you?
Yes, yes. And I think it ties back to what I was saying because, that is, I've realized again with the age and reason and experience, this is just my style.
Right.
I'm not going to change it because the couple guys that I have hired, they look at that as weak
Mhm.
because for some reason we have this toxic masculinity thing where it's like if a guy isn't acting like a complete right, I must be tough all the time and let you know who's in charge.
Mhm.
You know why? I don't have to do that. My name's on the company.
Right.
Okay. I don't need to behave like that every single day for you to know that I'm in charge. And if I have to do that just for you to do your job, you're the wrong person.
Exactly. That's a you problem, not a
Right.
Calvin
So
problem.
so I'm not changing who I am because okay, well, I need to hire a guy, but if I hire a guy, I need to I can behave differently,
Mhm.
but I don't want to.
Right. And I think that maybe that's where some of this underlying confidence that we were talking about comes from. It's like the realization that people are all different things. And the
Mhm.
more you try to force yourself to behave counter to who you really are, the more that comes across as insecure or lack of confidence or something like that.
Or
I don't know.
insincere at a
It
minimum,
very
right?
much
Yeah.
insincere. There's
Yeah.
something else to this too I think that's particularly pertinent to these times we're living in with AI
Mm.
because AI, like if you're using a large language model to write everything that you write, it's taking the cumulative writing of every person who's ever written something and then giving you sort of like the mush that creates. Not that it's necessarily bad. Plenty of AI writing is fine.
Mhm.
But it's very like same. And the more that I think the more that people lean in to their points of view and personalities now more than ever, the better off they will be in their careers, because it will be easy to distinguish them from
Good
the
point.
sort of mashed potatoes that are
Mhm.
AI driven, like thought leadership articles or posts or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, you're in marketing, you've got to stand out. You've got to have your own voice in order to, kind of make it and be noticed.
Mhm.
Um,
It's
something,
scary though. That's a scary thing to do, I think, especially in an industry that's pretty conservative, like hospitality. Like everyone's just nice and hospitable.
yeah,
It's kind of hard to
yeah,
draw a line in the sand and be like, we are for you, we are not for you.
yeah, yeah. That reminds me very much of I was at the Caribbean Hotel conference a year and a half ago.
Oh, what was
And
that like?
that was cool. That was down in Fort Lauderdale /
Mhm.
Miami. And yeah, there was her name is Chrissy. She goes by Chrissy, but that's a very Dutch long name.
Great, great.
But yeah, she runs
Hmm.
she runs a hotel in Aruba, and she was discussing that exact point where she said they actually in their marketing they say what we are not, and I
Hmm.
thought that was so cool and it's very brave, to your point, because it's like we're not for everybody.
Hmm.
Okay, if you're looking for, you know, loud music on the beach, we're not for you. If you're looking for, conga lines around the pool, we're not for you. You know what I mean? And I was
This
like,
is
that
not the place.
this is not the place for you. And I think but it's such an important thing to do, because we tend to go into this bucket where, oh, we're for everybody. Every hotel's not for everybody.
Hmm.
And
I
it can't be for
wonder.
everybody.
Exactly. But I wonder now, with the number of indistinguishable brands there are in the marketplace, what's going to happen with that? Because, I know that the people who create those brands work really hard to try to find the sliver of traveler that they
Yeah,
they officially appeal to. But really, the loyalty programs are what appeal to travelers. I've got more this points, I've got fewer that points, so I'm going to
right.
always go to this one or whatever. I wonder if the industry writ large, is getting ourselves into trouble by having these like minuscule slivers of travelers that are meaningless. The things that are working are like glamping, RV,
Hmm.
homestay versus hotel stay. Like those make sense because it's
Right.
at least related to someone's like purpose of visit, why they're doing their thing. But
Mhm.
there's so many brands that I mean, I consider myself an expert and I couldn't tell you what the difference between a bunch of these brands are.
I could tell you, I did some content at AHOA early last year, and that was we just were giving out prizes for trivia questions.
Oh,
And
nice. That's such a good
one
idea.
one of the questions was, how many brands does Hilton have?
Mhm.
And I won't name the people, but we asked Hilton, and they couldn't answer correctly.
Are you serious? That's amazing. Oh
There
my
were Hilton reps
gosh.
there that didn't know.
I mean,
So
how could they? It's impossible to keep them straight, like
no,
truly. And also the brands that are like the softer brands, I can't ever remember which ones belong to which parent company, which I think is a little bit problematic because travelers are making their booking decisions based on the loyalty program so much that if you don't know if Tribute
Mhm.
is Marriott, Hilton, Hyatt, or IHG, you're in big trouble.
Yeah, yeah.
Which one
And
is it? Do you know?
I'm
Tribute?
going to say Hilton.
I think
I
so too. I don't
think
know.
so. Well, we'll have to fact check. Let us know in the comments.
Okay,
Fact check
okay.
us in the comments. No, but I think it raises such a good point, because you can do too much, slivering and breaking it up into markets. And I had Calvin Stovall on the show recently, and that was something that we discussed, where it was a light bulb moment for me, because I've struggled with some of our clients of trying to do unique content, things outside of the box.
Yes.
We did something with for a luxury hotel, but we did it with a TikToker. right? So she
Mhm.
does these really cool, fun, reels, and she did a fun, dancey kind of reel in the room. And the metrics were astronomical. 300 followers within like a week, 50,000 views within two
Wow.
weeks. Insane. But they didn't like it because it was too juvenile.
It's not on brand for them.
And I'm like,
But who decides what's on brand? Like, what are you gonna do then?
I kind of feel like,
Have an old lady pour tea? I mean, come on.
right, now who wants to see that, right?
Yeah,
But I kind of
exactly.
feel like your audience will dictate what they want to see. That's kind
That's
of
a
where I'm coming
really good
from.
point. Yes.
Like your social media pages aren't for you. It's not your taste. It's for your audience,
Hmm.
right?
But
And
then
that,
I would say the question is those 300 new followers, how many of them booked?
I'm going to say probably not a lot because they force us to stop doing enough of that content.
Oh,
You know
got it,
what I
got it,
mean?
got
I
it.
feel like
Yeah.
if we had stayed on that trail at least every week or two, put something, that's what they came for, right? They're
Mhm.
like, oh, wow, this is a cool, fun hotel. When I'm a young girl in the city, this is what I'm going to be doing on a Friday night. I want to see more of this. And then we're posting about your 300 thread count pillows. And then
Right.
like we didn't come for
Boring.
this,
Well, and nobody is, I mean, this is a good point about all these brands because even the sort of distinguishable luxury brands talk
Mhm.
so much about their amenities and their sort of features. Like we have this, we have this, we have this. The thin slicing of that, who cares? Like you have 300 thread count, we have 350. Promise you,
Right,
there is no traveler making a decision based on the thread count of the pillow. They're making a decision on
right,
their loyalty program, location, and how the brand makes them feel or how they anticipate it's going to make them feel when they're staying there. And
right.
I'll tell you what, people are booking luxury hotels if they're not rich because they want to feel rich. They want to feel fancy and excited, and getting ready to go out in a luxury hotel is that feeling.
Yeah, yeah, and that's got to come across in your content, and it doesn't come across because you post, a moody picture of the beach.
Right. Or some vase on a coffee table in the
What is
lobby.
that?
Who cares?
What's that doing for me? I have never,
Right.
never stayed at a hotel or worked at a hotel and was like, wow, that artwork.
Exactly.
I should stay here.
Now, what would be cool is if the artwork told this greater story of the hotel. So you did
Yes,
an art tour in a reel or whatever, where you're like, this artist is local. And because we are so focused on the local experience, we picked a local audience. You know what I mean? Like
ex-
that makes more
exactly.
sense.
Yeah, if it tells a
Why doesn't
story,
everybody just listen to us? We should just boss these hotels around.
this is exactly what I've been saying now. I
Yes.
don't get it. But I think, going back to the original point, it's like what Calvin Stovall said was people are afraid to stand out. And it just hit me like a ton of bricks. I was like, that's the issue. It's like we're a unique and luxurious hotel, but we want to post like everyone else. How are you going to stand out in a sea
Mhm.
of, a city like New York, LA, any big city where there's thousands of hotels that people are getting bombarded with content constantly,
Yes.
not just hotel content, everything else that they've, curated the algorithm to show them. And we're just going to post the same crap and look just like every other hotel in your comp set and every hotel in your city. And you think this is going to work somehow.
Right. It's not a magic trick. It's so funny when I'm making content. So, one of the things I do for my clients is we make LinkedIn content for them.
Mhm.
And I very deliberately like to use sort of clashy, bright colors or like sh- shocking sizes of text, or do you know what I mean? Things like that, because the strategy is to stop the scroll so that someone will read your message. Your personal taste and a strategic objective are not the same things.
Yep.
Like if you don't like the color teal, that's okay because
It's not for
everything
you.
on LinkedIn is cornflower blue. So if I have a bright, crazy looking green, that's going to stop the scroll and get somebody to read your message. Hello.
Exactly. Exactly. I think you said like $1 million point there. It's people have let their own personal aesthetics drive what hundreds of thousands of followers are going to
Mm-hmm.
see, or an audience of you know millions out there. I mean, there's millions of people out there that could potentially see your content, and you think what you like is what matters the most.
It's
That just
because
doesn't even make sense.
people experience marketing, so they think they're an expert on what works.
Yeah.
Somebody I was talking to, oh my gosh, I think it was Leora Lands. I don't know if you know her. She teaches hospitality marketing at Boston University, and she has a couple new books out. She was a guest on my show recently, and she talked about the fact that when she's working with students, she frequently has to remind them that they are not the target market. The person who is approving content is not the target audience.
Right.
They're not your target. So
Right.
why does their personal taste matter? It doesn't. Mine does. Only mine.
Mhm. No, it's so true, and it's an obstacle it's just huge out there, and it's
Mhm.
like I find myself at this crossroads. It's like, do I keep trying to fight this fight, or you just hopefully you have one or two clients in your portfolio that get it, right?
Mhm.
So like that's where the energy is going to go.
It's
Uh,
interesting. When I first started my company, I wanted to do these tests and like do stuff that was crazier than what my clients would let me do. And so I invented a fake client called The Frugal Hostess that was a like lifestyle and entertaining blog. I wrote it incognito. She only referred to herself in the third person. Like it was utter nonsense, but it was so I could test all this stuff and be like, well, my other client, the Frugal Hostess, really likes it when we do blah, 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 so that I could show them. I think that's part of the thing. You have to have case studies or tests or
yes.
some
Yeah.
way to test out, which you are able to do with rev problems. Don't you think? In some degree, like, do
Yeah.
people see that and they're like, we got to hire this guy? And then you give them something funny and they're like, whoa, 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 wait a minute.
That's actually happened quite a few times, because it's I've had a few people reach out to me for like to do ads, or hey, create some content in your voice and either post it on Rep Problems or make something for us that we can share. And then I'll make it and they're like, whoa, this might offend somebody. I'm like, you called me. You out of all the people, you called me. Every post I make is probably going to offend someone.
Mhm.
You know,
And that's how you get them talking.
but yeah, I mean, listen. I've always maintained when it comes to that content, I joke on situations, not on people.
Mhm.
And to me, I think that's the difference between my content and a lot of others that have come and gone, where it's like, oh, guests are idiots. You'll never see me post something like that.
Right.
But what I will say, guests will show up at 6 a.m. thinking their room's ready. Now, if you read that as guests are idiots, that's on you. But that's
More
not what
power
I
to
said.
you. But
That's not what I said.
right. Exactly. Totally.
You know,
It's totally true. Don't you wish we could figure out, like, find someone who will just pay us to make our wildest dreams of content? Like, I made Valentines for the hotel industry.
I
And
saw
I
those.
mean, they were
Hilarious.
so stupid and crazy. If someone would pay me to do that, I would work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Like, if I could, that is all I would do. It's the most fun thing.
Yeah, no, that was amazing. I think you had one, or maybe this is in my head, something like, hey, are you a guest at noon? Because I want to check you out or something. Yeah, those were fantastic. I reshared at least two or three of them.
Oh, that's so nice. What
Right.
one of my favorites was, are you an early check-in? Because you're giving me an extra charge.
Love
So
it.
silly. Oh
Yes,
gosh.
I think let's collaborate on those next year.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, I love it. What advice would you give to young women that are, maybe getting started in their careers, not in this industry and others, but yeah, being that it's Women's History Month and we're all about women's empowerment around here, let's give them some advice.
I would love to. I'm going to give the advice that I wish I had gotten.
Mhm.
There's probably two or three things. The very first one is that doing an amazing job does not equal awards and recognition. Nobody is sitting back in a room waiting to bestow recognition on people that are killing it at their jobs. If you aren't doing some variety of self promotion, you are never going to get the recognition that you deserve. That is not an easy thing to do. And it certainly wasn't something that I did early in my career. I wish that I had done more of it. And I wish that I had built that muscle so that I wouldn't feel so weird about it now. It's a really important thing to do. Like, a good example are all of these like 40 under 40, 30 under 30. There's no editorial board sitting back like, let's look across the industry and find the very best. If you aren't nominating yourself or having someone nominate you, it's not going to happen. So that's the first one. The second one is for hospitality folks specifically. There are so many freaking cool jobs to do. And if you're working at a hotel right now and you see your path as just one path to either director of sales and marketing, director of revenue, general manager, just know that if you peek outside of the front doors of your hotel and look around, you will find an almost unlimited number of options that will leverage the skill set that you've built in the hotel, leverage your sort of insider knowledge about how hotels work, and can be absolutely fascinating. That is the thing I've learned the most from doing my show, talking to all of these different people, all of these different career paths. It is unlimited. And someone said this on my show, and it's very true. I think hotel operators, like people who work on property, significantly undervalue the transferability of their skill set.
Yep.
And trust me when I tell you, you can go work at a hospitality tech company, you can go work at a real estate company. There's so many things that you can do. So don't feel like it begins and ends in the lobby. Maybe you want it to, but it doesn't have to.
Right. I got nothing to add to that.
Maybe I'll say one more thing, which is, this is so hard. This is hard advice to take, but at the end of the day, to coin a phrase, you will get so much further being exactly who you are than trying to conform or turn yourself into something that you're not. That doesn't mean like trying to you should try to like polish up. If you're throwing knives in the kitchen, maybe knock that shit off. But for the most part, who you are at your core, lean into that instead of leaning out of that.
Yep. That's your superpower. That's what makes you who you are.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely.
100% true.
Absolutely. All right. Well, we always wrap up, being that this is the socially awkward.
I love the name of this show. It's so funny to me.
What is your most awkward hotel or travel story?
Calvin,
you can give me a top 5.
So many that all revolve around this same scenario, which is waking up in the middle of the night, walking out the front door of your hotel room thinking that you're going in the bathroom, and then locking yourself out of your hotel. I have done this so many times in so many embarrassing scenarios, but I'll tell you the most embarrassing. This was also the first time this happened. I was on a work trip. It was like an internal incentive trip that our general manager had set up for the sales team. We blew our goals out of the water, and so we got to go to this ski resort in Steamboat Springs, Colorado for like a couple nights. It was so much fun, just like a huge party, great time, whatever. So we had a huge party one night. I lost my glasses. I went to sleep, woke up in the middle of the night, had to use the bathroom, locked myself out of my room, also had no glasses on, super confused. The way this resort was laid out, it wasn't like one big tower. It was like clusters of buildings that had the different hotel rooms in them. So I would have had to go outside in the snow to go to the front desk to get a key to my room. that is an important point because there was no way in hell I was doing that in my pajamas with no glasses on in the middle of the night. So what had happened was instead, I curled up on top of a coffee table in the elevator landing of that building and went to sleep and woke up the next morning to the sound of families clomping down the hallway in their ski boots while my dumbass is curled up asleep on the coffee table. And I was outraged by them. I remember waking up and looking at them, like giving them all the side-eyed, dirty look, like, how dare you wake me up? Curling back up and going back to sleep for a while until I realized that perhaps I should get up and get out of the public area. My boss never found out that I did that. Thank God. Maybe I'll send him this now so that he can know what the real story was behind the shenanigans of that weekend. So much bad behavior, but mine thankfully remained a secret until now.
We're going to send this directly to him.
This is so terrible. I can remember the feeling of like, what are these people doing? Why are they so loud? I'm trying to sleep. Really? Really? So stupid.
Oh man, I would love to see the TripAdvisor reviews from that week.
Yeah. I wonder if that got back to like the hotel GM or anything. Oh God.
I would venture to say yes. I mean, at the very least, the guy in this security office had a good laugh. He's looking at the cameras like, who is this woman?
Imagine there's like some, scraggly hotelier out there telling her grandchildren this story. Like, one time we had a guest who thought she should sleep on the coffee table. It was me, ladies and gentlemen. It was me.
Reminds me of that meme where you see like the old lady on the walker saying something like that. And it was like,
yes,
"Oh, grandma, let's get you to bed."
It happened. It absolutely happened.
I love it. Well, that is a very high note for us to end on.
Thank you so much for having me. This was really fun.
Of course. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure to talk to you. You're one of my favorites. Lots of knowledge, lots of laughs, which is what we strive for here on the show. So let everyone know where they can find you.
Well, my favorite place to hang out is on LinkedIn, and I'm Susan Berry on LinkedIn. And then Top Floor can be found on any place you like to listen, and topfloorpodcast.com.
Fantastic. And you can catch me in those LinkedIn streets as well, most likely commenting on one of Susan's posts. All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up there. We'll see you on the next one.